Japan and Vietnam, two neighboring countries, have experienced turbulent historical moments, especially in their relationship with China. Over the centuries, China has repeatedly sent troops to attack Vietnam, but left Japan alone. This really surprises many people. Another interesting fact is that Japan is not as poor in resources as many people think. So why are there such strange things? Part of the reason lies in the Meiji Restoration, which transformed Japan from a feudal country into a modern power in the late 19th century. This reform not only helped Japan avoid the invasion of Western powers but also opened the path to imperialism and capitalism. However, the human factor is only part of the story. Natural reasons also play an important role. Thanks to its favorable geographical location, Japan has been protected from powerful enemies for centuries. Geography has also endowed this country with many rich resources, contributing to the strong economic development. Japan used to be a terrible nightmare for many Asian and Western countries. So, how does Japan's geographical location bring such terrible power? How is it different from Vietnam? Let's explore with us the interesting things about the geography and power of these two countries. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next interesting videos. Looking at the map, Japan appears as a precious gem in the middle of the vast Pacific Ocean, with more than 14,000 large and small islands. This country has an area of about 379,000 square kilometers, larger than Vietnam, but is not flat, but divided by many majestic mountains. In particular, the Japanese coastline is 29.751 kilometers long, 10 times longer than the coastline of Vietnam and even longer than the coastline of the United States. However, Japan is not without its natural challenges. Located right on the Pacific Ring of Fire, this country is often subject to earthquakes and tsunamis. Geological changes occur suddenly, causing terrible disasters. In 2011, the earthquake and tsunami devastated 3 northeastern provinces, leaving more than 18,500 people dead or missing, along with economic damage estimated at up to $300 billion. That pain still haunts thousands of families to this day. Although nature has brought many challenges, geography has also given Japan a solid shield. Completely isolated from the Asian continent, Japan is considered one of the most invulnerable countries in the world, second only to the United States. Throughout history, its residents have rarely been affected by bloody wars, while Vietnam has always faced invasions from the north. Indeed, this unique geographical location is an effective shield for the Japanese archipelago, giving the country relative safety in the context of a turbulent world. Throughout its history, Japan was fortunate to escape the devastating wars that devastated China. While the Vietnamese struggled through thousands of years of Chinese domination, the Japanese emperor proclaimed himself Emperor of Heaven, the King of Heaven and Earth. Although Japan had to face invasions from the Yuan dynasty, the most powerful empire in the world at the time, with territory stretching from Europe to Asia and a seasoned army, their fate took a miraculous turn. The Yuan invasion was not unlike the Allied invasion of Normandy in World War II. But Japan did not need to expend much manpower or resources to defend its homeland. The main reason was the divine wind, a huge storm that struck while the Mongol army was advancing at sea, sinking their ships. The Japanese called this event kamikaze, meaning divine wind, representing the power of nature. During the second invasion, although the Yuan army had prepared to avoid storms, they still could not penetrate the strong Japanese defense line. Japan's rugged terrain and large and small islands created favorable strategic positions for defense. Even when attacked, the Japanese army could retreat deep inland to take shelter, waiting for the opportunity to counterattack. In the end, the Yuan army was forced to retreat without achieving its goal. The geographical location near China and Russia, the two leading powers in Asia, is considered to bring many risks. However, that also helped Japan develop a strong military strength and defense mentality, helping them stand firm in the face of all challenges. Moscow's influence on the land of the rising sun, Japan, is not really great, mainly because most of Russia's population and headquarters are concentrated in European territory. Although China is closer to Japan, the East China Sea acts as a natural border between the two countries, and Japan's rugged terrain makes attacks from the north difficult. Even the United States had to worry about Japan's geography. American military strategists carefully studied amphibious assault options, but eventually had to accept that this was impossible. According to the calculations of the US Department of Defense, without using weapons of mass destruction, landing on thousands of Japanese islands could lead to tens of thousands of casualties for the US military, while the victory rate was not high. As a result, the United States used the most fierce attack in history, dropping 2 nuclear bombs on the 2 cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki to subdue Japan. This was the first and only time to date that Japan had to endure a 7-year occupation by the US military. Geography may have protected Japan from the most powerful enemies in land and sea invasions, but it was powerless against nuclear weapons. This shows that, despite its favorable geographical location, in the context of the modern world, military power and technology can still overcome all barriers. Japan, a country often considered poor in resources, actually possesses a rich treasure trove of resources that not everyone realizes. When it comes to resources, we think not only of minerals but also of marine, water and exclusive economic zones, with about 14.000 large and small islands spread across the Pacific Ocean. Japan has the 8th largest exclusive economic zone in the world. Although its land area is only 62nd, this has helped the fishing industry develop strongly. And in the 1980s, Japan led the world in seafood production. The steep mountainous terrain also facilitates the construction of large seaports. With a long coastline and many deep ports, Japan not only protects ships from storms but also supports trade and import and export, making the country an important gateway for trade between North America, Europe and the resource regions of Russia. These ports have contributed significantly to the development of the shipbuilding industry, with Japan accounting for more than 50% of the global shipping market in the 1980s. Despite its mountainous terrain and only about 12% of its land area being arable, Japan has not had major food security problems. Thanks to its location on an active volcanic region, the land here is always well supplied with nutrients. By the 1970s, Japan had achieved near self-sufficiency in food production, although this rate has declined due to a lack of manpower, not a lack of land. In addition, volcanic activity attracts hundreds of thousands of tourists each year to visit Mount Fuji, an active volcano, along with hot springs, which provide high tourism value. From marine resources to agriculture and tourism, Japan has made good use of its geographical advantages to develop a sustainable and diversified economy. Let's discover more wonders about this land of the rising sun. Japan's agricultural land is not only fertile but also highly productive, which has helped the country develop strongly since the pre-industrial period. One of Japan's great successes during this period was the forest protection policy of the shogunate government over the past 500 years, helping to maintain the forest area at 70%. An essential resource for human life that Japan possesses is fresh water. This country has twice the rainfall of the global average, providing favorable conditions for agricultural development. Rain is often concentrated in the summer, when trees grow strongly, helping Japan become one of the countries with the highest crop productivity in the temperate zone. In terms of minerals, Japan is not far behind. The country has gold, silver, manganese, tin, zinc, sulfur and especially a huge rare earth mine discovered offshore, with reserves of up to more than 16 million tons. This rare earth mine is located near Minami-Torishima Island, about 1.850 kilometers southeast of Tokyo, and is located within Japan's exclusive economic zone, which gives the country full rights to exploit this precious resource. Rare earth is an important ingredient in the production of electronic components, becoming a trump card for countries holding this resource in the information technology boom era. In addition, with modern technology, Japan is exploring the seas and has found oil and gas deposits, along with many other valuable minerals such as titanium and mica in cooled volcanoes. Therefore, Japan cannot be considered a resource-poor country, although it has experienced a period of resource shortages during the industrial period, mainly coal and oil. The fact is that Japan still possesses a rich treasure trove of resources. From marine resources, forests, water, to minerals, it can be said that, compared to Vietnam, Japan can even be considered richer in terms of resources. The view that Japan is poor in resources is often used as an excuse for its past policies of aggression, as well as to deify the achievements of this country. We have just discovered an interesting perspective on the geography and resources of Japan. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next interesting videos of the channel.